Okay, fantastic. So welcome everybody on the call today. Welcome to this webinar. And today we're going to be discussing how you can profit from the future of payments. So just like to welcome all the guests that are watching on YouTube Live. Feel free to share this. I'd like to welcome all the panelists today as well. Let me just share my screen. Now, there's a few key things that I'd really like to cover today in this discussion, just so that everybody can have a really good understanding of what's going on in the economy right now. My name is Bearden Ogunyemi. To give you a little bit about my background is financial services for quite a number of years, the best part of over 18 years actually. And in that time, I dealt a lot with investments. I dealt a lot with currencies. I have an organization that does Forex trading as well. So I've dealt with currencies and commodities. And in saying that, from what I'm going to describe and what I'm going to explain, none of that really matters today. It's just really about educating yourself so that you can move forward. So what we're talking about, we're really talking about education as the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And it was Nelson Mandela that said that, and here's an individual that did change the world. And if you imagine, if you can educate yourself about what's going on in the economy right now, then obviously you'll be able to profit from it. Because everyone in here, if there's certain things that you see happening in the world, and sometimes something happens, and then you say, well, you know, if only I'd have known at the time, I would have taken a certain amount of action. So welcome to the conversation on Crypto Live. And today we're really all about inspiring, motivating, and most importantly, we want to educate. So for those that are watching, for the guests, we want you to be able to take something away from this. If you're on Facebook Live, feel free to share this so that this can reach many other people that can learn from this. So let's look at what's happening in the world today so we just get an overall perspective. First of all, we have the US dollar. The US dollar has been declining since about the year 2000. And even before that, we had a real issue with what we call fiat currency. Fiat currency is a real challenge because money itself becomes a figment of our imagination because we have no control. We have no control. The banks print more money and the governments borrow money. It affects the economy. So in actual fact, we're not in control of our wealth right now in the current situation. You have the US dollar declining, which is the major currency, and all the rest begin to follow that right up to the present time. And that trend is probably set to continue. And the important thing to really understand is that there's so much going on in the world right now, so much that many people don't even know about. For example, when you're looking at any particular new opportunity or something you don't understand, the first thing that most people do is they jump onto a platform like Google and they Google it and check. And a lot of the information there, they take that for granted. But let's say, for example, you were going to go and open a bank account. Do you go onto Google and check to see if this bank is some sort of scam or it's some sort of scheme that you wouldn't get involved in? Yeah, many people don't understand that if you go and do some research on the banks and what's going on, even with the foreign markets right now, and even with certain banks, you can see that there's many banks every single year. They get fined by the various regulators. So you have something like Royal Bank of Scotland fined $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. Barclays fined $2.32 billion. And these fines are consistent every single year, and every single year they go up, so they're really expected. But let me ask you a question. How many people on here have an account with Barclays? How many people on here have an account with RBS? So if you're trusting your preservation and your wealth to these banks, then which are the middlemen, then you've really got to ask yourself, is that really a wise thing to do? And that could begin to bring your decision into question right now as you have a better understanding. So let's look at what's really going on behind that as well, because the future is definitely what we call cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is a digital form of currency, a digital form of exchange. And what happens is, if you imagine every single note, every single currency has got a serial number, especially in money and monetary terms, so that monetary terms are actually paper tokens. Every single one's got a serial number. You never get the same serial number twice because you know that one of them will be a fake. And if you imagine taking that number, recoding that number with a series of hashtags and a big long number, that becomes the form of exchange. And understand that it doesn't need to be tangible. Why? The only reason gold is in demand right now and gold can be used as a form of exchange is because of supply and demand, because there's demand for gold. The same thing goes with diamonds. The same thing goes with tanzanite. The same thing goes with any stone whatsoever, any precious stone. How does a precious stone become a precious stone? Because there's supply and there's demand. And if demand outstrips supply, then obviously the value goes up. So it's irrelevant what it is. The fact that you don't have anything tangible doesn't matter. You simply have that number. It's stored on your iPad, your iPhone, your digital device, and that becomes your form of payment. And it's really as simple as that. And if you imagine, so what happens is you get rid of the note completely, and it's the exact same right now with money, because money has no value other than the value that's put on it. It's not backed by anything. It's not backed by a physical asset. So all you're doing is simply getting rid of the middleman, and the middleman is where a lot of the costs are.
Have you ever wondered whether your ballot is actually counted? If you meet someone online, how do you know they're who they say they are? When you buy coffee that's labeled fair trade, what makes you so certain of its origin? To be sure, really sure, about any of those questions, you'd need a system where records could be stored, facts could be verified by anyone, and security is guaranteed. That way, no one could cheat the system by editing records, because everyone using the system would be watching. Systems like this are on the horizon, and the software that powers them is called a blockchain. Blockchains store information across a network of personal computers, making them not just decentralized, but distributed. This means no central company or person owns the system, yet everyone can use it and help run it. This is important because it means it's difficult for any one person to take down the network or corrupt it. The people who run the system use their computer to hold bundles of records submitted by others, known as blocks, in a chronological chain. The blockchain uses a form of math called cryptography to ensure that records can't be counterfeited or changed by anyone else. You've probably heard of the blockchain's first killer app, a form of digital cash called Bitcoin that you can send to anyone, even a complete stranger. Bitcoin is different from credit cards, PayPal, or other ways to send money because there isn't a bank or financial middleman involved. Instead, people from all over the world help move the digital money by validating others' Bitcoin transactions with their personal computers, earning a small fee in the process. Bitcoin uses the blockchain by tracking records of ownership over this digital cash, so only one person can be the owner at a time, and the cash can't be spent twice, like counterfeit money in the physical world can. But Bitcoin is just the beginning for blockchains. In the future, blockchains that manage and verify online data could enable us to launch companies that are entirely run by algorithms, making self-driving cars safer, help us protect our online identities, and even track the billions of devices on the Internet of Things. These innovations will change our lives forever, and it's all just beginning. To learn more about the urgent future of the blockchain, please visit iftf.org/blockchainfutureslab.
Okay, fantastic. So that was just a short video on the blockchain and how that's going to impact us in the future, because the technology behind cryptocurrency is blockchain technology. And if you imagine, it's going to be used not just for payments, it's going to be used for recruitment, for voting, for your identification, even for music, for downloading films, things like that. It's also going to be used for, even they talk about controlling cars. So you can imagine the technology that they're talking about is going to actually be bigger than the internet itself. So we know that it's here. And you have something called there's something called the R3 Alliance. The R3 Alliance is a consortium of the world's largest institutions with a mission to realize the benefit of the distributed ledger technology, which is the blockchain. And this organization started a number of years ago, and there's many companies around the world right now that are involved in this. And I'll show you some of the companies here. We have companies like Morgan Stanley, RBS, there's so many of them, and they're all in this consortium, all working on the blockchain. So you can imagine how big this is going to be in the future when you realize that the blockchain is going to control a lot of the things that are controlled on a centralized register just now. So with that knowledge in mind, you can understand why things are changing the way they are, and why in the future we're really at the beginning stages right now. Imagine going back to when the internet started, and I remember there was an interview with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, and he was told, do you really think this internet thing is going to take off? And look where we are today. You can't even function without the internet. So that's exactly what's happening. So that's why we need to really pay attention, as you can imagine. So we know that a cashless society has already begun right now. Many countries around the world, Dubai is going cashless 2020. Japan, in fact, has just announced that they're going to be going completely digital in the future. You've got countries like Netherlands, France, the UK, they're all advanced. And this source comes from MasterCard advisors and many, many organization advisors, such as banks. There's a company called McKinsey and Company, which is the world's foremost management consultancy company. So you can imagine that things are really moving in the right direction right now. Now, this here is a village in India that's completely digital right now.
दूसरे गांव में अभी पगार नहीं मिले, वो सबको अकाउंट नहीं है बैंक में कहीं भी, और डायरेक्ट कैश ही देते हैं। और यहाँ पे सबके अकाउंट है, इसलिए वो सबके अकाउंट में पैसे डाल देते हैं।
1 किलो दाल, 1 किलो शक्कर, कितना हुआ?
104 रुपये।
पहले उन्होंने युवाओं को हम सबको सिखाया कैसे पे करते हैं। बाद में हम सब ने हमारे गांव में जो महिलाएं थी, जो बुजुर्ग थे, उन सबको सिखाया। बाद में हम धीरे धीरे 3 महीने में सभी को आ गए।
So that gives you an idea of what's going on just now, and even certain countries like a remote village in India, where even it's so, you can imagine they're completely digital right now. And so you can imagine what's happening, where they can pay. They've taught the elderly, they've taught the young to be completely digital, so they don't use cash at all. So you can imagine what's going to happen as we move forward. So let me just, so the very first cryptocurrency that came on the market was Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin success story is amazing. We know that it was released in January 2009. They can produce 21 million coins. That's an issue for them right now. They're actually trying to do what you call a hard fork to try and increase that amount if they can. 2009, it was valued, each Bitcoin was valued at 10 cents, and the story goes on. And then, you know, today it's around about $1,400, and it peaked at $1,200 in 2013. So the bottom line is it started at 10 cents, it went to $1,200. You can imagine this currency coming on the market at the time of recession. And people said, you know, this is a complete scam, it's a pyramid, it's never going to work. And even today, we don't actually know who is behind Bitcoin. We don't know that. Yet many people profit today from it. And it created many wealthy people around the world. Some of them you can see here. But I love this story of the young student who turned $27 of Bitcoin into $886,000. He really didn't have a great understanding. He just thought, you know, I'll buy some, forgot all about it, cashed it in 2013, bought himself a lovely apartment in Norway. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is, yes, it's great to be able to understand and educate yourself, but at the same time, and like anything in life, sometimes you've really got to pay attention to where you do your research, where you do your due diligence, and really also pay attention to two things. The first thing is anything in life you do, regardless, you're taking a risk, and with a risk that comes reward. And the other thing is affordability. And I'm going to explain why that's really, really important. So as a result of Bitcoin, we have over 700 cryptocurrencies, and most of them you won't even have heard of. Even today, you can make and you can profit from many of these cryptocurrencies. Why? Because most of them are all about speculation. Nothing but people buying them, holding on to them and selling them. Some even buying them and selling them within a few hours, never mind a few days. That's possible if that's what you want to do. Obviously, education comes into it again. So you can buy low, you can sell high. This is an example here. This is right up to date. In the last 7 days, number one on that chart, if you bought that cryptocurrency, Deep Web Cash, and there's so many on the market, over 700, you would have increased the value of anything you put into that by over 1,000%. Now, you show me anywhere else that you can increase that, you can get that kind of value in terms of the return on an asset like cryptocurrency. So at the moment, if you educate yourself, then obviously you can profit from it. And even number 10 was 226%. But the question here is, how do you know which one to choose? How do you know that it's the correct one? So again, it all comes down to education, all comes down to affordability, and it all comes down to risk. And this source is coinmarketcap.com. It has all the cryptocurrencies that are on a public exchange on the market. You can simply go to that site and you can check it for yourself. So the organization I want to speak about tonight is an organization, One Life. If you haven't heard of One Life, then you will very, very soon. This organization has a private community of over 3 million members, which makes it the number one cryptocurrency with the most amount of members right now, and everything's all about supply and demand. And we also have a complete ecosystem. But let me tell you a little bit about the company and why you need to pay attention. Firstly, it was started in August 2014, 125 million euros a week in sales right now. That's the revenue. 1 billion in revenue in the very first year. They did that in under 12 months. Last year, 5.9 billion in revenue just last year alone. What does that make it? That makes this organization one of the fastest growing companies in the world right now. There's not many companies that have done over 1 billion in revenue. And there's very, very exciting things to come as well. Let's look at the road to 1 billion. So One Life did it in 11 months. I says 12 months was actually 11 months. You have companies, direct selling companies like Amway, a company that's been established for the best part of 40 years, over 40 years. It took 21 years to reach a billion. Many of you would have heard of a company called Avon. It took 86 years to reach 1 billion. Herbalife, massive organization. They're on the public stock exchange right now. 24 years to reach 1 billion. Then we move on to conventional companies. Conventional companies like Apple. Everyone's heard of Apple with iPhones and Macs. 6 years. Facebook, massive organization, 6 years. Amazon, 4 years. eBay, 7 years. Google, 5 years. Microsoft, 9 years. And the list goes on. So it's not normal that a company reaches that type of revenue in 11 months. It's outstanding to be able to do that. And it sets this organization apart from many, many other organizations. So to me, that's a reason why you need to pay attention. But there's also another reason why you need to pay attention. One of the main reasons for me is we have our founder, who's a Dr. Ruja Ignatova. And if you have heard of Dr. Ruja Ignatova, then I'll be surprised if you're not involved. However, for many of our members, they know exactly who she is. She's a visionary and she's the founder of this organization. So we have an individual who's a woman, fantastic visionary, who has created $1 billion company from scratch, faster than Jeff Bezos of Amazon, faster than Bill Gates of Microsoft, faster than Steve Jobs of Apple, faster than Groupon, faster than pretty much any other organization that you can probably mention. Yet, it's only just getting started right now. So that's absolutely phenomenal. So you can imagine where this organization is going in the future. Let me give you a little bit about her background. This is an individual that's got a PhD in law and a master's in economics from Oxford, the PhD in law, and University of Constance, where she did the master's consecutively. She's the former youngest associate partner with McKinsey & Company, which was is the foremost management consultancy company I mentioned earlier on. She's won Businesswoman of the Year 2012 and 2014. Her background is investment, banking, and finance. She's managed global management consultancy funds in the past. She's also helped banks in various different countries. She's also published 2 books. 2 books she's published, translated into 3 languages, English, German, and Chinese. So this is somebody that knows exactly what she wants to achieve. She's the visionary of the company. The Economist invited her to be a keynote speaker at the 4th European EU Summit. This is somebody that's really taken this company to the next level, and her vision is absolutely amazing, which we'll be discussing. She's also been featured in various different magazines. So how do you get involved? Where does it all start? It's really, really simple. We have various different products. We have a mobile app builder, which is for business, so they can keep in touch with their customers. You can use your iPhone or an Android device, and you can build your business. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a straight purchase, and you can build it yourself. So it's really popular. We have the One Life tablet for members. We have CoinCloud, which is a business-based cloud-based service, just like iCloud, but this is much more secure. And we have the DealShaker platform. The DealShaker platform is where you can actually spend the cryptocurrency OneCoin. Now, the cryptocurrency OneCoin, how do you get involved? Well, you have to get involved in our education packages through the One Academy. So the only way, if you want to own OneCoins right now, you cannot buy them on the open market because they're not available on the open market. Why? Because at the moment, it's a centralized operation. What happens is you have to come through the One Academy. When you come through the One Academy, you become a student. You receive free promotional tokens, which are mined for the cryptocurrency OneCoin. What is mining? Mining is the process of calculating the long number that I explained earlier on, and that's done through an algorithm. So that process of calculating that long number is mining. Just like if you were mining for gold, it involves digging through mountains. Mining for cryptocurrency is an algorithmic calculation. The more people get involved with the coin, the more members we have, the more difficult it is for the algorithm to calculate the next number. Pretty simple. Now, if you're looking at this and you have a number of questions, that's normal. The reason being that this one is the first time you're seeing it. I wouldn't expect you to understand everything. That's where I would expect you to get back to the person that spoke to you about this in the first place, and they can help you to answer your questions, help you to have a better understanding. However, what I will say is we have over 150,000 people in 194 countries around the world joining every month. That is a substantial amount of people, as you can imagine. So there's many, many people around the world paying attention right now. Things are really, really happening. The coin itself, OneCoin, started off at 50 cents in January 2015. It's increased 13 times since then. And at the moment, it's at €9.85. So imagine you got involved in December 2015 at €3.95. And the value of your asset now is €9.85. Or imagine, like me, I got involved in March 2016. And the value of my asset back then was €5.65, and today it's €9.85. So I'm delighted. Here's a coin, a form, a medium of exchange, because anything can be a medium of exchange, that I can literally spend on the DealShaker platform. The DealShaker platform is just like Groupon, the company Groupon. It's a platform where you can actually spend your coins. And at the moment, we have over 30,000 people around the world accepting the coin. So that, to me, based on a platform that was only launched on the 16th of February this year, that's absolutely phenomenal. So the One Academy, let me talk about that. So you decide which education package you want to buy, you want to purchase. When you purchase your education package, you can learn about cryptocurrency using the MP3s, the videos, and you can go through that at your own leisure. It depends which package you take. That determines how many levels of education it opens up. But remember, you get free tokens. Those free promotional tokens are then mined for the cryptocurrency OneCoin, and that's the only way you can get involved. So we have packages to suit everybody. We have, you can actually join for free. If you join for free, then obviously you don't receive promotional tokens, but you can join for free, and many people join for free. They have a look around the platform, familiarize themselves, then they decide how they want to take it from there. You do receive a book if you do join for free. And then we have promotional, we have packages starting from €110. You add on an activation fee of €30. That's €140, right up to €27,500 on the Infinity Trader. Now we have packages above that. We have a combination of packages, 48,600, which is the Power Pack. So there's various different packages. I'm just giving you an idea. Many of our popular packages are the Tycoon and the Tycoon Plus. And the reason for that is because, one, it opens up more levels of education. That's the first thing. Secondly, you end up with more promotional tokens and you end up with more. There's a split on the system which takes place every 60 days or so. When a split happens, your promotional tokens double. And then once you've had all your splits on the system, you submit your tokens to the mining pool for mining, of which OneLife does on your behalf. So you don't need to wait for the split, but obviously if you do, you end up with more promotional tokens. The more promotional tokens you have, guess what? The more coins you have. It's pretty simple. So the Tycoon and the Tycoon Plus are the first ones where you have 3 splits on the system. The rest of them, you have maybe 1 or 2 splits. So it makes sense. A lot of people get involved with the Tycoon, which is shown here. The Tycoon Plus is just another promotional package that was on the system, which is now permanent. And it's just it just has additional features. So in terms of which package suits you, feel free to discuss that with the person that introduced you, the person that recommended you come on, or feel free to get in touch and we can certainly help you with that. This is an example of the Dealshaker platform. There's many things on the Dealshaker platform. We have from houses. You can buy a penthouse. You can buy land on the Dealshaker. You can buy cars. There's many things. You can feel free to browse this in your own leisure. But this is an ecosystem, a complete ecosystem where you can actually spend the coins. And why do we need blockchain? Why do we need cryptocurrency? Number of reasons. The first one is much faster, it's much more secure. And lastly, really important, it's much cheaper. You see, Richard Branson recently bought one of his airlines, 600 million, and he saved 15 million in fees. So you can imagine that there's many people transferring money around the world. What if you could transfer the money for pretty much next to nothing? Then it's going to save a lot of money. So I hope you have an understanding of why it's the future and why that's the way the economy and that's the way everything's moving. So in order to get involved, it's really simple. You can decide just from the information you've seen, is this something that you want to pay attention to? If not, fantastic, then that's great. If you do want to pay attention to the blockchain and cryptocurrency, then you got to say, okay, is this the company you want to pay attention to? Because if you want to buy Bitcoin today, you are buying Bitcoin that's already been mined. It's pre-mined. What does that mean? You're buying it off people that have it already, which means you're paying the top price for it. Whereas with OneLife, you're getting involved at the early stages of production of the coin, which means it's way back to when Bitcoin first started, which means really you're getting a lot more promotional tokens that are going to be mined for the coin, which means you end up with more coins. It's really simple, and it's the best way to get involved because all the mining is done on your behalf. So you decide if it's something you're interested in, you decide what package you want, you then receive your free tokens, your education pack, you wait for the splits to happen, submit them into the mining pool. OneLife does all the mining on your behalf. You get them in the exchange, you have your coins where the value is, that's the value of your asset, and then you can keep your coins until we go on a public exchange, second quarter next year, or you can spend them on the Dealshaker platform. The choice is yours. The other option you have is, as a member, you have the option of exchanging some of your coins for optional future certificates, which really is in lieu of shares in the future, because the company has announced that they're going to launch on the stock exchange, which is an initial public offering, which gives us as the members the ability to own shares within this organization. So the biggest question people should be asking themselves right now is, do you believe that the coin value is going to be more than the share value? It's really simple. 3 million, remember we have 3 million members and we have an ecosystem where you can spend the coin. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You take Snapchat, founders of Snapchat sold out for billions, upwards of 30 billion, based on what? Based on an app. It wasn't based on an app. It was based on the fact that they had an app, because it's not the best app on the market. It was only based on the fact that they had so many users using the app. That's where the value is. Same as Facebook. So I hope you understand that. The most important thing right now is looking forward, looking at the bigger picture. If you're looking at the smaller picture, for people that might be on this call or you might be watching on YouTube, if you're looking at this and you think, you know what, I want to get involved, I want to get in and I want to get out, I can honestly say it's not the company for you, because we're not in the money for money game. This isn't about that. If you're looking for fast money, I suggest that you look elsewhere. It's really risky if you start to do that with cryptocurrency. If you're looking at the bigger picture, then this is probably something you want to pay attention to. So I just want to make that completely clear. So it's a question of whether you become a pioneer or whether you become a user. It's going to happen anyway. Many people, when Facebook came out, A lot of people resisted even using Facebook. Look at today. Many businesses can't survive without Facebook. Many people have been forced to go onto Facebook, regardless of your age, regardless of anything else. Just all around the world, Facebook's widely used. Apple's been competing with Microsoft for years. Look at where Apple is today. It's taken them years to get to a stage where they have a mass market product that people want. I don't know if many people remember when the Mac first came out, the only people that ever bought a Mac were graphic designers, and that's all changed. Now it's a product that even young kids growing up, they'd rather have a Mac than a simple laptop. So I want you to consider that. So we have Bitcoin, the pioneers, but we've got One Life, and One Life is not, the beauty about this company is they have the best people in their organization. They recruit the best people to take us forward. We've just recruited a new CEO of OneCoin, who's an expert in taking companies to an IPO situation. So that's amazing. In addition to that, the other thing is diversification. We don't just have one product. Most other organizations, certainly in this space, they have one product, and it's all about speculation. This organization is all about mass market, is all about the brand, is all about making this coin accepted publicly and used around the world. So it's completely different. So I hope that gives you an understanding. For those of you that have been watching, simply the decision is yours. If you need any further information, get back to the person that introduced you. So Mark Zuckerberg, when he launched Facebook, invited 5 people to his dorm room to discuss a business opportunity. 2 people showed up, and those 2 people today are billionaires. 6.5 billion and 3.4 billion just for making that decision. So what I would say to you is nothing is more expensive than a closed mind and a missed opportunity. So certainly I would advise you, have a look at this, ask the questions, have your questions answered, and pay attention to the information that people give you so that you get all the facts right. You see, many people, when they start looking at an opportunity like this, the first place they go is Google. They check out Google, and whatever Google says, they believe it. There's a challenge with that. You have been trading currency markets, for example. Nobody that trades currencies goes onto Google to do their research. Nobody. It doesn't happen. If you trade commodities, you do not use Google to do your research. You use recognized places where you go for that information. So, it's really, really important that you listen to the people that can give you the right information. Very, very important. Just to recap and just to finish off, that's all about the coin. But Richard Branson says, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity, you're not sure, you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. This is from an individual that has started probably around about 400 companies. Many of those companies have not been successful, but yet we only know about the ones that have been successful. Struggled for years and years and years with Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic's one of the best and most preferred airlines today, but they struggled. There was a lot of competition with British Airways. They nearly went out of business several times. You're up against a massive organization. What would have happened if Richard Branson stopped after the first challenge that he had, the second challenge, the fourth challenge? If you go and read about Richard Branson or you go and watch some programs, at one point he was going to take his kids out of the school that they went, and he was going to sell everything because he couldn't afford it. So again, these are all challenges. Everything's all about the journey. So what decisions are you making right now that's going to impact the rest of your life? That's one thing to realize. Today, 4 ways of producing income. You're either an employee, self-employed business owner, or investor. Now, where does all the wealth lie? You see, let me tell you, 80% of the people in the world work for 20% of the people. It's simple. 80% of Bitcoins in the world are owned by 20% of the people, the 80-20 rule. So right now, do you want to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Left-hand side, you have no leverage, no time leverage, no people leverage. You simply get rewarded for the efforts you do. And there are exceptions to that rule because there are people that are really highly paid. You move over to the right-hand side where you become a business owner. In other words, you could be on holiday, your company's still running, you're still earning money, or you could be an investor. And an investor, for example, somebody like Warren Buffett or some of the other investors, if you're trading currencies, you're making your money work for you. So you're leveraging money. So you want to be leveraging really time and money. And that's really, really important. So most people, you should be looking at moving from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, because on the right-hand side, that's where you can really begin to build true independence in terms of your time, in terms of financially as well. So let me just tell you, if people decide to get involved with the company, we use a referral marketing model, and One Life will reward you in different ways. There are 4 types of bonuses on the system, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I just want to give you an insight. But the first one is a startup bonus. Direct sales bonus is the second one. We have a network bonus. We have a matching bonus. These bonuses work in different ways. What happens, the bonuses are generated within the week and they're paid 1 week later. Simple. 60% goes into your cash account, which you can withdraw immediately. The other 40% goes into your trading account, of which you use to buy more coins. So simply you're building up, again, the number of coins in your account, which is building up your asset value. The startup bonus is basically, we hit a certain level within the first 30 days, they'll pay you double in the first 30 days. So it's really, really important to understand that. Today, I'm not going to go into the details of these. I just want to give you an insight. However, one thing I just want to cover is sometimes in an industry, you see a trend. This is a site called MLM Business for Home, independent website. You can go and check it out. And on this site, you can see all the top 200 earners in the whole industry of network marketing. Now, if you look at the top 10, 7 out of the top 10, 70% of the top 10 are from what company? One Life. One Life is a company that's been established just over 2 years, just over 2 years old. And if you look at number 4 on that chart, Dexter and Buddy Yeager from Amway, for 17 years, they dominated this chart. Nobody could move them. One Life wasn't even on the chart because it's only been established 2 years. And now you see many industry leaders around the world joining this organization. We have Juha Paralea, our top affiliate, 4.8 million a month. We have the Steinkeller brothers, 2.5 million a month. And yeah, these figures are real. It's not an error in any way, shape, or form. That is the figures. Recently, we had our own Black Diamond upline leader here, Jose Gordo. He was here in Glasgow. So it's amazing. This is what you call a trend. This is what you call there's something happening that I need to pay attention to. So it's happening, and we can see it. I reckon in the next few months, we'll see probably 9 or 10 out of the whole top 10 will be from One Life. So it's really exciting at the moment. We've just had a recent international event in Macau. There was many new announcements that are really exciting moving forward. So from me, I just want to leave you with a couple of things. The vision for the future, Dr. Rujan's vision for the future is 10 million users of the coin and 1 million merchants accepting the coin. As I said, the DealShaker platform was launched on the 16th of February. We have over 30,000 merchants already. Right now, we have over 3 million members within the organization. You've got an organization, Bitcoin, for example, has 300,000 users. So we are miles ahead. We have over 1 million people in China alone. And that was set, that vision was set 2 years ago. It was set in June 2016. So we're looking at 2018. It's really exciting. Are we going to achieve that? Well, many people in the organization believe that we will, because the growth right now is going through the roof, and it's really exciting times. So for those of you that have come on, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you to all the participants, all the panelists that are on. If you're on YouTube, feel free to share this. And if you need any more information, please get in touch with the person that introduced you. And from me, it's bye-bye until the next time, and have a fantastic day. Thank you very much.